Hi and welcome back to Buddy Saga. Today a man loses everything, his wife, his kids, his money, but what he finds at the end is worth more than all of it. Well, here we go.
The scream came from inside the freezer. I was standing in my own garage, the garage that wasn't mine anymore, at 9:47 p.m. on a Thursday night in October. The divorce had been finalized 3 weeks ago. Brooke got the house. I got a studio apartment and every other weekend with my daughter. "Pick up your stuff by Friday," Brooke had texted that morning. "I'm throwing out whatever's left." So I came Thursday night. Didn't tell her. Didn't think I needed to. My belongings were in the garage, boxed and waiting. I'd grab them and go. Simple. The garage door was open when I pulled up, light spilling onto the driveway. Brooke's car wasn't there, but her mother's Buick was parked on the street. Dolores, my former mother-in-law. The woman who had smiled at our wedding and spent the next 14 years making sure I knew I wasn't good enough for her daughter. I didn't think much of it. Dolores often watched Iris when Brooke worked late. I'd grab my boxes, maybe wave hello and leave. Then I heard it, a muffled scream, high-pitched, terrified, coming from the chest freezer against the back wall. For a moment, I couldn't process what I was hearing. The freezer was old. A hulking white unit we'd bought at a garage sale years ago. We kept frozen meat in it, bulk items from Costco, the overflow from our regular refrigerator. Another scream, pounding from inside. "Daddy! Daddy, help!" Iris. My 7-year-old daughter was inside the freezer. I crossed the garage in 3 steps, grabbed the handle. It was latched, but not locked. Just a simple latch that a child couldn't reach from the inside. I ripped it open. The cold hit me first, a wave of frozen air, thick with frost. Then I saw her. Iris was curled in the fetal position, wedged between bags of frozen vegetables and a bulk package of chicken breasts. Her lips were blue. Her skin was pale, almost gray. She was shaking so violently her teeth were chattering, making a sound like castanets. "Daddy!" Grabbed her, pulled her out. She weighed nothing, 43 pounds of frozen, trembling child. Her pajamas were thin, cotton, completely inadequate for the 31-degree interior of that freezer. I've got you, baby. Daddy's here." I held her against my chest, trying to transfer body heat, trying to understand what I was seeing. "How long have you been in there? Iris, how long?" "I don't know. Grandma put me in. I was bad." "Grandma put you in the freezer?" "She does it when I'm bad. I spilled my juice. I didn't mean to, Daddy. I didn't mean to." I was shaking now, too. Not from cold, from rage. Dolores had put my daughter in a freezer. As punishment. For spilling juice. Where is Grandma now? Inside, watching TV. She said I had to stay until I learned my lesson. I carried Iris toward my truck. Needed to get her warm. Needed to call 911. Needed to... "Daddy, wait!" Iris was looking back at the garage. It's something I hadn't noticed before. A second freezer, smaller than the first. Against the opposite wall, half hidden behind a stack of moving boxes. It was unplugged and locked. A heavy padlock through the latch, the kind you'd use to secure a storage unit. "Daddy, don't open that one," I stopped. "What?" "Don't open it, please." "Iris, what's in there?" She buried her face in my shoulder. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Grandma says it's where the bad ones go. The ones who don't come back. The bad ones who don't come back." I looked at that padlock, at the frost creeping around the edges of the lid even though the freezer wasn't plugged in. At the smell I suddenly noticed, faint, chemical, wrong. "Iris, I need to put you in the truck. I need you to stay there and keep the heater on. Can you do that for me? Don't leave me, Daddy. I'll be right outside, I promise. I just need to check something." I carried her to my truck, started the engine, cranked the heat to maximum, wrapped her in the emergency blanket I kept in the back seat. "Lock the doors, baby. Don't open them for anyone except me or a police officer, understand?" She nodded, teeth still chattering. I called 911 as I walked back to the garage. 911, what's your emergency?" "I need police and an ambulance at 847 Maple Creek Drive. My daughter was locked in a freezer by her grandmother. She's hypothermic. And there's something else. Another freezer. Locked. I think there might be someone inside. Sir, did you say someone is locked in a freezer? I don't know. Maybe. There's a padlock on it. My daughter said it's where the bad ones go, the ones who don't come back. Silence on the line. Sir, do not open that freezer. Police and emergency services are on the way. Do not touch anything. I have to know. Sir, I hung up. The padlock was industrial grade. Heavy. I wouldn't be able to break it with my hands, but there was a crowbar in one of my boxes. I'd used it during our last move, prying. Up carpet tacks in the old house. I found it in the third box I opened. 18 inches of solid steel. The padlock didn't stand a chance. 1 hit. 2. The latch bent. 3. It snapped. I stood there for a moment, crowbar in hand, heart pounding. The bad ones who don't come back. I lifted the lid. The smell hit me first. Not rot. Something had prevented that. Chemical. Preservative. Like formaldehyde mixed with something else, something organic and wrong. Then I saw what was inside. A body. Small. Child-sized. Wrapped in plastic sheeting, the kind painters use to cover furniture. Through the clouded plastic, I could see a face. A boy's face. Eyes closed. Skin waxy. Perfectly preserved, like something in a museum exhibit. He had been there for a very, very long time. The police arrived in 7 minutes. I was sitting on the garage floor when they found me. Couldn't stand, couldn't move, couldn't stop staring at that freezer, at what was inside. My daughter was screaming in the truck, pounding on the windows, calling for me. An EMT was trying to get her to open the door. Sir, I need you to step outside. A uniformed officer. Young, mid-20s, with the look of someone who had just seen something they would never forget. I pointed at the freezer. There's a body, a child, in the freezer. We know, sir. We've called detectives. I need you to come with me. I let him lead me out of the garage. The night air felt wrong. Too warm, too normal. Red and blue lights painted the houses on Maple Creek Drive. Neighbors were emerging, confused, alarmed. The EMTs had gotten Iris out of the truck. She was wrapped in thermal blankets, an oxygen mask over her face. When she saw me, she reached out. "Daddy!" I went to her. Held her hand as they loaded her into the ambulance. "I'm going with her." "Sir, we need to ask you some questions." "I'm going with my daughter. You can ask questions at the hospital." The officer looked like he wanted to argue. Then he looked at Iris. 7 years old, lips still blue, trembling under a pile of blankets, and stepped aside. I climbed into the ambulance. The doors closed, and as we pulled away, I saw Dolores Vance standing in the front doorway of the house, watching. Her face showed nothing. No shock, no guilt, no fear, just nothing, like a mask with no one behind it. Iris's core body temperature was 91.2 degrees when we reached the hospital. Normal is 98.6. Below 95 is hypothermia. Below 90 is severe hypothermia, potentially fatal. My daughter had been minutes away from dying. The doctors warmed her slowly. Too fast could cause cardiac arrest, they explained. Heated blankets, warm IV fluids, careful monitoring. It took 4 hours before her temperature stabilized. I sat beside her bed the entire time. "Mr. Crane?" A detective appeared in the doorway. 50s, gray hair, tired eyes that had seen too much. "Detective Roland Vickers, I know this is a difficult time, but I need to ask you some questions. Is my daughter going to be okay? Doctors say she'll make a full recovery. She's lucky you found her when you did." Lucky? I had almost waited until Friday. Almost let Brooke throw out my stuff rather than deal with the awkwardness of seeing her. If I had waited one more day, my daughter would be dead. "The freezer," I said, "the second one. What was in it?" Detective Vickers pulled up a chair, sat down heavily. "We're still processing the scene, but I can tell you that we found human remains. A male child, approximately 8 to 10 years old. Based on preliminary examination, the body has been there for a very long time. Decades, possibly. Decades. We'll know more after the autopsy. But, Mr. Crane, I need to ask you, did you have any knowledge of this freezer or its contents? No. God, no. We bought the house in 2018. Brooke got it in the divorce. That freezer wasn't there when I moved out 6 months ago. When did you move out? March 15th. And you haven't been back since? I picked up Iris for visitations, but I never came inside. Brooke wouldn't let me. She'd bring Iris out to the car. Did you ever meet Mrs. Vance's son? I blinked. What? Dolores Vance had 2 children, your ex-wife Brooke and an older brother named Timothy. Timothy Vance. No. Brooke told me her brother died when she was young. Some kind of accident. She never wanted to talk about it. Detective Vickers was quiet for a moment. Timothy Vance was reported missing in August 1992. He was 9 years old. The family claimed he ran away from home. His body was never found. The room tilted. You think, the body in the freezer? We'll need dental records to confirm, but the preliminary assessment suggests the remains are consistent with a child who died approximately 32 years ago. 32 years. Dolores had kept her son's body in a freezer for 32 years, and then she had put my daughter in a freezer too. Where is she? My voice came out as a growl. Where is Dolores? In custody. She's not talking. Requested a lawyer immediately. And Brooke, my ex-wife? We're trying to locate her. Her phone goes to voicemail. Do you know where she might be? She was supposed to be at work. She works late sometimes at a marketing firm downtown. We've contacted her employer. She left the office at 5 p.m. No one has seen her since. Brooke was missing. Dolores was in custody, and there was a 32-year-old body in my garage. My former garage. The garage where my daughter had been locked in a freezer to die. I need to make a phone call, I said. Detective Vickers nodded. We'll talk more tomorrow. Get some rest, Mr. Crane. Your daughter needs you. He left. I looked at Iris, sleeping now, color slowly returning to her cheeks. And I started making calls. My name is Mitchell Crane. I need to tell you how I ended up in that garage, on that night, at that moment. I need to tell you about Brooke and Dolores and the 14 years I spent married to a woman whose family held secrets darker than I could have imagined. I was born in 1982 in Aurora, Colorado. Blue-collar family, blue-collar upbringing. My father worked at a distribution center. My mother was a receptionist at a dental office. Nothing special, but stable, loving. I met Brooke Vance in 2008 at a friend's birthday party. I was 26, working as a warehouse supervisor, making decent money for a guy with no college degree. She was 23, just starting her career in marketing, beautiful in a way that made me nervous to talk to her. We dated for 2 years. Got married in 2010. I was 28, she was 25. Her family was small, just Brooke and her mother, Dolores. Her father had left when Brooke was 12, moved to California, died of a heart attack in 2005. And her brother Timothy had run away when she was 7. Don't talk about Tim, Brooke told me early in our relationship. It destroyed my mom. She's never recovered. I understood, or thought I did. Families have tragedies. You don't poke at old wounds. So I didn't ask questions, didn't push. Let that part of her history remain closed. Dolores was strange from the beginning, cold, controlling. She smiled at our wedding, but her eyes never warmed. She visited often after Iris was born in 2017, always with criticism, always with suggestions for how we were doing things wrong. You're too soft on her, she would tell Brooke. Children need discipline, structure, consequences. Consequences? I thought she meant timeouts. Maybe no dessert after dinner. I didn't know she meant freezers. The marriage started falling apart in 2023. Not dramatically. We didn't have screaming fights or thrown dishes. We just drifted. Brooke became distant, preoccupied, spending more time at work, more time with her mother. I tried to talk to her. She said I was imagining things. I suggested counseling. She said we didn't need it. By March 2024, we were sleeping in separate rooms. By April, she asked for a divorce. I didn't fight it. Maybe I should have. But I was tired of trying to connect with someone who kept pulling away. The divorce was finalized in September 2024. Brooke got the house, primary custody of Iris, and child support payments that would stretch my budget to breaking. I got every other weekend with my daughter in a storage unit full of memories. Pick up your stuff by Friday. That text came on October 17th, 2024. I went on Thursday, and I found my daughter dying in a freezer. Brooke showed up at the hospital at 3 a.m. I was dozing in the chair beside Iris's bed when the door opened and she walked in. Oh my God! Oh my God, Iris! She rushed to the bed, tears streaming down her face. The picture of maternal concern. I felt nothing but rage. Where were you? I was with a friend. My phone. Died! I just heard what happened. Mitchell, what? Your mother put our daughter in a freezer. Did you know about that? What? No, of course not. She said, Grandma puts me in there when I'm bad. Like it was routine. Like it happened all the time. Brooke's face crumpled. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. You left our daughter with that woman alone while you went out with friends. Mom watches her all the time. She's always been what, Brooke? Cruel, controlling, abusive? She's strict. That's different. She locked a 7-year-old in a freezer for spilling juice. That's not strict. That's torture. Brooke was sobbing now. I didn't care. There's something else. Did the police tell you? Tell me what? They found a body in another freezer in the garage. Brooke went still. The sobbing stopped. What? A child's body. Preserved. They think it might be Timothy. Her face did something strange then. Collapsed inward, like a building imploding. That's not possible. The police think it is. They're running tests now. Tim ran away. He ran away when I was 7. Mom said, What did your mother say, Brooke? What exactly did she tell you happened to your brother? Brooke's mouth opened, closed, opened again. She said he was bad, that bad children go away and don't come back, that if I wasn't good, I would go away too. The bad ones who don't come back? The same words Iris had used. Brooke, did your mother ever punish you by putting you in a confined space? A closet? A box? Anything like that? Silence. Brooke. The cellar, she whispered. When I was little, if I was bad, she would put me in the cellar, in the dark, sometimes for hours. Did she ever put you in a freezer? No, we didn't have a chest freezer when I was young, just a regular refrigerator. I stared at my ex-wife. This woman I had been married to for 14 years. This woman I had built a life with, had a child with. I had never known her at all. The police are going to want to talk to you. I know. You need to tell them everything, about the cellar, about how your mother disciplined you, everything. I can't. Our daughter almost died tonight, Brooke. And there's a dead child in your garage who might be your brother. You don't get to protect your mother anymore. Brooke looked at Iris, at our daughter, sleeping peacefully now, color back in her cheeks. Something shifted in her expression. Okay, she said quietly. I'll tell them everything. The body in the freezer was Timothy Vance. Dental records confirmed it 3 days later. The 9-year-old boy who ran away in August 1992 had been dead the entire time. Cause of death: blunt force trauma to the head. The medical examiner estimated he had been killed within hours of his reported disappearance. Dolores had reported him missing, played the grieving mother, accepted sympathy and casseroles from neighbors, and the whole time, her son's body was in a freezer in her basement. When she sold her old house in 2019, she had the freezer transported to Brooke's garage, claiming it contained a family heirloom she couldn't part with. Brooke swore she never looked inside, never questioned why her mother needed to keep an unplugged, padlocked freezer in her daughter's garage. Maybe she was telling the truth. Maybe she had spent so many years not asking questions that the habit was unbreakable. Either way, it didn't matter. My daughter had almost died. Her grandmother had tried to kill her the same way she had killed her own son 32 years earlier. Dolores Vance was charged with first-degree murder in the death of Timothy Vance. attempted murder in the case of Iris Crane, child abuse, false imprisonment, and obstruction of justice for the decades of lies about her son's disappearance. She never confessed, never explained, never showed a moment of remorse. Her court-appointed psychiatrist diagnosed her with severe antisocial personality disorder, a complete lack of empathy, an inability to see other people, even her own children, as fully human. In her mind, children are objects to be controlled. The psychiatrist testified at her competency hearing. When they fail to meet her standards, they become defective, disposable. The freezer was her way of dealing with defective objects. Defective objects. That's what my daughter was to her grandmother, a defective object that needed to be disposed of because she spilled juice. The trial lasted 2 weeks. The jury deliberated for 4 hours, guilty on all counts. The judge sentenced her to life in prison without the possibility of parole. She was 63 years old. She would die behind bars. It wasn't enough. Nothing would ever be enough. But it was something. Brooke lost custody, not because she was directly involved. The investigation found no evidence that she knew about the abuse or the body, but she had left Iris in Dolores's care repeatedly, despite warning signs she should have recognized. Iris had been having nightmares for months, wetting the bed, becoming anxious and withdrawn whenever Grandma came to visit. Brooke had dismissed it as normal childhood behavior. The family court judge did not agree. The respondent failed in her fundamental duty to protect her child, the judge said at the custody hearing. While there is no evidence of direct complicity in the abuse, her willful blindness to the warning signs constitutes negligence. Full custody was awarded to me. Brooke got supervised visitation, 2 hours a week in a monitored facility with a social worker present. She cried when the ruling was read. I felt nothing. We moved to Westminster, a small house on a quiet street, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a backyard with a swing set that I built myself over a long weekend. No garage. I couldn't look at garages anymore. Iris started therapy 3 days after leaving the hospital. A child psychologist named Dr. Amara Okonkwo, who specialized in trauma. They met twice a week at first, then weekly as Iris stabilized. The nightmares were bad in the beginning. She would wake up screaming, convinced she was back in the freezer, convinced she was going to die. I would hold her until she calmed down, remind her that she was safe, that Grandma was in jail, that I would never, ever let anyone hurt her again. Promise, Daddy? Promise, baby. The nightmares faded over time. Not completely. They still come sometimes, especially when she's stressed. But they're less frequent now, less intense. Dr. Okonkwo says she's resilient, that children have an incredible capacity to heal when they feel safe and loved. I'm trying to make her feel both. The investigation into Timothy's death revealed more than anyone expected. Dolores had been abusing her children for years before Timothy died. Neighbors from the old neighborhood came forward with memories they had buried for decades, screaming from the house, children with unexplained bruises, a little boy who flinched when adults raised their hands. We should have said something, one neighbor told the police. But back then, people didn't get involved in family business. We told ourselves it wasn't that bad, that kids exaggerate. Timothy didn't exaggerate. He had been beaten regularly, locked in closets for hours, denied food as punishment. On the day he died, according to evidence pieced together from Dolores's own journals, found during a search of her apartment, he had broken a dish while doing chores. She had hit him with a cast iron pan. He died instantly. She put him in the freezer because she didn't know what else to do. Because, in her twisted mind, that was where bad children went. And then she reported him missing and spent 32 years pretending to be a grieving mother. The journals were horrifying to read. I only saw excerpts during the trial. Cold, clinical. Descriptions of discipline that would make anyone sick. But the most chilling part was what she wrote about Brooke. B is learning. She understands now that bad behavior has consequences. She will not make the same mistakes her brother made. She will be a good girl. She has no choice. Brooke had spent her entire childhood in terror of becoming the next body in the freezer. No wonder she had never asked questions. No wonder she had spent her whole life trying to be perfect, to be good, to avoid her mother's displeasure at all costs. It didn't excuse what happened to Iris, but it explained why Brooke had been so blind. 2 years have passed. Iris is 9 now. 3rd grade. Obsessed with dinosaurs and chapter books and a YouTube channel about baby animals, she still sees Dr. Okonkwo once a month, still has occasional nightmares, still gets anxious in enclosed spaces. But she's doing well, better than I dared hope in those early days. She made the honor roll last semester, has a best friend named Chloe who comes over for sleepovers, laughs easily, loves fiercely, lights up every room she enters. My daughter is not broken. She is healing. I'm 44 now. Still working at the warehouse. Got promoted to operations manager last year. More responsibility, better money. Enough to afford our little house and Iris's therapy and a vacation to Disneyland next summer. I haven't dated since the divorce. Haven't wanted to. My whole world is Iris right now, and that's enough. Maybe someday I'll be ready for something more. Maybe not. Either way, it's my choice. Brooke sees Iris twice a month now. The supervised visitation restrictions were loosened after a year. She's been in intensive therapy working through decades of trauma and the realization that her mother was a monster. I don't hate her anymore. I did for a while. Hated her for not seeing the signs, for leaving our daughter with a woman capable of such cruelty, for the willful blindness that almost cost Iris her life. But watching her at those visitations, seeing the desperate love in her eyes, the guilt she carries every single day, I realized something. Brooke was a victim too. Not in the same way as Iris, not in the same way as Timothy. But she grew up in that house, lived with that woman, spent her childhood terrified of becoming the next body in the freezer. The fact that she survived it all is remarkable. The fact that she turned into someone capable of loving our daughter, even imperfectly, is something close to a miracle. I'll never trust her fully again. The custody arrangement won't change, but I've stopped hating her. Hate takes too much energy. I'd rather spend that energy on Iris. There's one more thing I need to tell you. Last month, Iris and I visited Timothy's grave. The police released his remains after the trial. There was a small funeral, just a few people who remembered the little boy who ran away 32 years ago. I wasn't sure if taking Iris was the right thing to do. She never knew Timothy. He was just a name, a tragedy, a piece of family history that had nearly become her fate. But she asked to go. He was alone for a long time, Daddy, in that freezer, all alone. I want to tell him he's not alone anymore. So we went. The cemetery was quiet, early morning, just us and the groundskeeper raking leaves in the distance. Timothy's headstone was simple, just his name, his dates, and the words "finally at rest." Iris knelt down and placed a small bouquet of flowers against the stone. "Hi, Timothy. I'm Iris. I'm your niece. I know we never met, but I wanted to tell you I'm sorry. For what Grandma did. For how long you were stuck in that cold place." She was quiet for a moment. I was in a cold place too, but my daddy found me. I wish someone had found you. I put my hand on her shoulder. She leaned into me. "I'm going to be okay, Timothy. And you're not alone anymore. I'll come visit you, I promise." She stood up, took my hand. "Can we get pancakes, Daddy?" "Sure, baby. Whatever you want." We walked back to the car, leaving Timothy in the morning sunshine, finally free of the darkness that had hidden him for so long. If you're watching this, I want you to understand something. Monsters are real. They don't look like monsters, they look like grandmothers, like neighbors, like people who smile and shake your hand and bring casseroles when someone dies. They hide in plain sight, behind masks of normality, and they hurt people, especially children, in ways that leave scars no one can see. Pay attention to the children in your life, when they flinch at sudden movements, when they have nightmares they can't explain, when they become anxious around certain adults. Listen to them, believe them, protect them. I almost lost my daughter because no one was paying attention, because Brooke was too traumatized to see what was happening. because I was too distracted by divorce to notice the signs. Iris saved herself by screaming loud enough for me to hear. Not every child is that lucky. Be the person who listens. Be the person who acts. Be the person who rips open the freezer and pulls them out. Iris is in the backyard right now. I can see her through the kitchen window, swinging on the swing set, laughing at something only she can hear. 9 years old, messy ponytail, dinosaur t-shirt, grass stains on her knees. My daughter. Alive. Healing. Free. 2 years ago, I found her dying in a freezer. Today, she's arguing with me about whether we can get a puppy. Life goes on. That's what I've learned. Even after the worst things imaginable, life goes on. You just have to keep showing up, keep holding on, keep being there when they need you. I found my daughter by accident. A Thursday night visit that I almost postponed. A garage door that happened to be open. A scream that I happened to hear. Sometimes fate gives you a chance to save someone. The question is whether you take it. I took it, and I would take it again, every single time. Thanks for listening. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, someone who works with children, someone who might recognize the signs. You could save a life. You really could.